Hello and welcome. My name is Catherine Connolly, and it's a real pleasure to welcome you to this interview today with the Society of Professional Economists. Today we're going to be talking about economics and professional development. And to do that, I'll first turn to Ove Arup. Ove Arup is well known for building the Sydney Opera House and many iconic structures. But some people say his greatest legacy was the company he founded in 1946. The company, of course, has lots of architects and engineers, but today we're going to turn to the economists, and I'm going to be joined by Matt Dillon. He is the director at Arup. He is head of the City Economics team and Global Economics Skills Leader. Matt has been involved in a new initiative at Arup for Arup Economists, which is the Arup Economics Accreditation Program. So welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Catherine. Really good to be here today. And yeah, thank you for those kind words in the introduction.
Well, it's great to talk to you, Matt. But first up, tell us a little more about Arup, the company.
So Arup today is an organization of around about 20,000 people. As you said in the introduction, Ove Arup's greatest legacy was to give his company over to his employees. And so today, we're one of the largest employee-owned organizations in the United Kingdom. The organization's roots are in engineering and architecture, but actually now we do all aspects of the built environment in terms of our consultancy. And the unique ownership structure that the company has gives us special values in terms of social equity and in terms of sustainability that we try to apply to our work on a day in, day out basis.
And so tell me about what economists do at Arup, and how many economists have you got there?
So at Arup, we've got around about 350 economists globally. The economists generally work in the transport sector, in the energy sector, in the water sector. But we also have an emerging practice in real estate and in environmental sectors. They do all aspects of economic work. So they do analysis, they do policy, do regulatory work, and also help build business cases for major infrastructure investments. Many of our economists are in London. That's our largest base. We have many more around the UK, and we also have large bases of economists in Hong Kong, in Australia, in the United States, and throughout Europe. So we're a truly global network, I would say.
There's a big global network there. So tell us about this new initiative, the Arup Economics Accreditation Program. I know you've been working on it with the Society of Professional Economists, but give us a brief overview.
We have, and so the Arup Economics Accreditation is a form of chartership. You know, as economists in Arup, we work alongside lots of other chartered professions. So we work alongside mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, town planners, and we were concerned that economics and the economists at Arup really had an opportunity to be on the same professional level as these chartered professions, which are very venerable institutions going back for many years. So we worked with the Society of Professional Economists to invent and to confirm this form of chartership for economists. We wanted to do this for a number of reasons. So one is, as I said, to get economists on the same professional footing as the other chartered professions at Arup. The second is for professional development, so really to demonstrate to our people that we're investing in them and that we're investing in their career. We wanted to raise the profile of economics within Arup, so not just do this for its own sake, but actually to get the profession more widely recognised across the business and across the organisation. And we also wanted to give our chartees' career a boost. And our vision really is that this form of chartership that we have within Arup one day will be recognised across the industry and outside of the organisation. And then finally, we're in a very competitive market in consultancy, and it's an essential part of our ongoing work that we continue to maintain and to improve quality. And we saw a form of chartership and of professional accreditation as being both a way to develop that quality and to improve that quality, but also to give a recognizable stamp to our clients and potential clients that we were investing in that quality. And of course, it helps recruitment and retention within Arup as well.
And so, on a more sort of day-to-day basis, what would a participant in the accreditation program, what's actually different and what actually changes for them?
Yeah, so we studied a few other forms of chartership when we were looking at the Arup Economics accreditation, and of course we worked with the SPE, and he very kindly gave us some comments on how to refine it. So we looked at what worked best, and so we looked across at the stages in people's career where they were becoming chartered, and we thought, well, we might as well mirror that in economics. So chartership works best really for people with around about 5 up to 10 years of career experience, because that then allows them to apply what they've learned in their jobs in terms of the practicalities, to reflect on those and to apply them to their future work. And there are a number of aspects to chartership, which within the Arup Economics accreditation, we see applying over the 3 to 4 years that it would take them to achieve it. The first one is that they get an additional training budget. So they get several £1,000s to spend on training throughout the year, which would really take them forward in terms of their competencies in several growing areas. And we want that training to be aligned with their own development plans, so aligned with their own career aspirations, and of course, being economics technical training for the most part. They get access to a mentor. So we have more seasoned professionals from across the business who provide that mentorship, that support to them, that ongoing sort of career development without the sort of extra lack of impartiality that you might get from a standard line manager. So this is sort of true career guidance from a seasoned professional that's able to dedicate their time to you and to your career. And the chartees and the mentors have regular meetings with one another. They also get access to the network of other trainees. So we take in a cohort each year for around about 6 chartees, and they all communicate with one another. They all learn lessons from one another, and they all share best practice with one another. And then importantly, in terms of how we assess them for whether they're ready for acquiring chartership or not, they complete a logbook for all of the projects that they undertake, all of the proposals they undertake, and all of the training sessions that they undertake. And they're invited to reflect on what they've learned within that logbook. And we find that reflection really consolidates the learning. It really internalizes that learning and really helps people draw things out from it in the months and years that follow. And the Charty program culminates with an interview at which an Arup person and an independent advisor will interview the Charty and will confirm whether or not they're ready for chartership. So far, the program has been running for a couple of years, and so the interviews that have taken place have been mock, but we hope to have it on a more permanent footing very, very shortly.
Wow, I mean, it sounds really good, Matt, but how do the chartees find it? Have you got any feedback? How are the participants finding the
Yeah,
program?
they really enjoy it. And actually, in preparation for this session today, I
Yeah,
got a few comments from them, and
right.
they say that they really value, in particular, the mentoring aspect of the
Right.
program. So they
Yeah.
really value
Mm.
access to other professionals who are just outside of their immediate reporting lines, but who can give them that career advice and that sort of been there, done that advice in terms of their own career and development. They really value the additional training and the
Right.
statement that it makes about Arup's investment in them.
Hmm.
And given that the program at the moment is sort of part way between being officially recognized and being something that is a pilot, they also feel that the level of effort that it takes them in order of in terms of the extra hours that they have to put in, to complete some of the admin associated with this and to complete their logbook and to do those reflections on their learning, that is broadly appropriate for sort of where we are in terms of the chartership status. So the feedback is very, very positive. We advertise the chartership opportunities each year. We like to get a global spread, so we want them spread around the world and our offices as much as possible. And we're always oversubscribed. So I take
Wow.
that as a measure of success. The other thing I would say is that the chartees that have now been with us for a couple of years have all stuck with us as well. So we've had
Right.
a remarkable loyalty from the
Hmm.
chartees, and we hope to be able to reward that loyalty, as I say, with putting the program on a permanent footing and giving them an accreditation at the end of it.
Mm. So, do you think in future it's something that you would actually use when you're actually advertising economics posts within Arup? You would actually say, and you have the possibility to join the chartership.
Yeah, and we're already sort of beginning to do that
Right.
at a softer side. So at interview, we'll often talk to
Mm.
people about the opportunities for chartership, the opportunities for them to be invested in. And so, yeah, once we have this on a permanent footing, we see it working as quite a formal sort of recruitment tool, offering people the opportunity for chartership. I think for many professions, mostly outside of economics, is quite a key part of people's professional
Yeah.
development and actually
Mm.
quite a key part of their professional identity as well.
Mm.
And it's a privilege to be able to offer something similar in
Mm.
economics, which, we
Mhm.
understand not many organizations do.
Mm. And so, I mean, that sort of leads nicely. I mean, how onto my next question, which is how are other people at ARA responding to this? Are you getting any feedback from professions, outside of economics?
Yeah, so outside of economics, we're getting some really good feedback. So remember, I said a moment ago that one of the aims of the scheme was to raise the profile of economics within Arab, and we're certainly achieving that. So our Global Economic Skills Network is part of a sort of broader network of networks, if you like, of lots of other skills across Arup, from
Mm.
facade design to fire safety to financial skills. And those skills networks are there to promote excellence. And actually, the Economic Skills Network has been held up as an example of what other skills networks can do in terms of promoting chartership. And actually, myself and my colleague Michele have spoken at a number of Pan-Arab Skills Network events about the
Mm.
scheme that we're doing, and have had some interest from other skills networks that are unchartered professions in the UK about doing
Mm.
something similar. So it's had a real impact, yeah, both in terms of raising the profile of the profession
Mm.
and in terms of other networks wanting to learn from the scheme itself.
That's interesting. And of course, Matt, I've got to ask, I mean, you're SPE members, Society of Professional Economists, and I know a lot of members will be really interested in this. How have you utilized that relationship? What role does that play in the charter, in the accreditation?
Yeah, so I want to thank you, Catherine, for your support throughout. And actually, SPE support goes um, even before we rolled the program out. We were having discussions with you over the most appropriate form of chartership, the shape that it could take, and so on. So thank you very much for your support in that. And that support is ongoing. So all of our chartees are members of SPE, as well as designing the program and helping us design the program. You helped us answer some intricacies around the nature of chartership itself, such as, who should make the final decision as to whether someone passes or not, which are, really good questions that really help with the design of the scheme. And SPE are also providing an ongoing support in terms of your independent voice and your independent presence at those mock interviews. So especially in terms of the assessment. So SPE personnel help review the logbooks, you help interview candidates, you provide feedback on the logbooks and on the candidates. And we also want to find a way of getting SPE involved in the final decision as to whether people should achieve chartership or not. So it's both sort of physical support, if you like, and just ongoing moral support. And we're very glad of it, actually, because you have proven to be a really, really helpful sounding board over the years in which we've been conceiving, designing, and then rolling out the scheme.
So that's great to hear, Matt. And of course, it brings me on to the question, the sort of stepping back from what Arup's doing is about, economic profession more generally. And of course, from time to time when I've been in economics, there've been sort of various discussions about this, and larger institutions tend to be more able to offer a kind of some form of program and network. Do you think it would be? I mean, just let's put it out there. Would it be a good idea to be like some other professions and have a chartership that sits outside of any one institution? What do you think?
Yeah, well, we originally designed the program as something that could be rolled out to a number of institutions. And that would be my long-term aim for the program. So if anyone is listening and is interested in introducing their own form of chartership into their own organization, I'd say that a logical next first step would be to have a chat and see what lessons can be drawn from the Arup scheme and what might be brought across into a new organization. I mean, certainly, if this pilot and the scheme that we are doing at Arup could be used as the basis for an SPE form of chartership, I think that would be a very, very positive legacy to have. So please, do come forward if you want to find out more. I'd be very, very happy to have a coffee and to discuss what we've learned in more detail.
That sounds like a great offer to any other companies out there, because I do think surely having top economists is a competitive advantage. I mean, it must be for Arup.
Yeah, definitely. And it, as I said earlier, it's already finding its way into recruitment. But that end vision of having it as a recognizable form of chartership that people can actually take outside of Arup and have it with them throughout their career is really the long-term goal for this. And similarly, that counts for individuals coming into Arup as well. So if we can have a form of chartership that's recognized out there, then having that assurance that an individual is chartered is something that other professions in the organization place a huge weight on, and which we as economists would look to do as well.
Okay, so final question from me. What are your next steps now with your program?
So we recruited our first cohort 2 years ago. We recruited another cohort last year. We're looking at recruiting our third cohort this year. So we have around about 6 each year. As I said before, we have quite a global spread. So this is a global scheme, importantly. The first and second cohorts will be continuing on their journey. Actually, the second cohort have just had their mock interviews and are getting their feedback at the moment, which is fantastic. We see this also as a scheme in which we take feedback from everyone involved. And so we take feedback from the chartees and feed that back into the scheme. So that can be anything from whether the training budget was adequate or not, to whether they found time to fill in their logbook, to whether they felt that they were getting the support that they needed from their mentor. So the scheme is very much open to feedback, and that's something we will be doing over the next couple of months. We'll have our third cohort start end of spring in early summer. And at the same time, we are working with Arup People Services to get the accreditation program recognised to the same level of as other forms of chartership, which in Arup gives you letters after your name, gives you a special title on the intranet, and yeah, it can also provide that career boost, you know, that people really want to see. So that is our next step, and that is something we feel would probably take a year or two to continue and to conclude discussions with Arup People Services, but we're out there meeting and discussing with them at the moment.
Wow, that sounds really exciting, Matt. Thank you enormously for joining and telling us more about your program. It's great to see the energy going into developing economists and ensuring that we sort of stay abreast with latest developments. And I think there's a great offer out there to any of our members. If you've been listening and you fancy hearing more, it sounds like a coffee with Matt might be on the cards. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you. Pleasure to speak with you.